Yo, what is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the best star power for every single brawler in the game. There's now 40 brawlers in the game. This is version 7 of the best star power for every brawler. Before we get into it, make sure you're using code TOM in the shop. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. Also, make sure you're joining my Discord server, which I will link down below, and let's get right into it. Okay, so starting off then with Shelly. So for Shelly, I think Band-Aid is going to be the best star power everywhere, giving you that 2k healing or 1.8k. Basically 2k healing every 20 seconds when you fall below 40% HP. Really helpful, going to keep you alive, especially in Showdown. Honestly, people are going to miscalculate it because they don't take into account Band-Aid. So most of the time, this is going to win you a lot of 1v1. So yeah, I'd say Band-Aid is for sure the better star power. Okay, so for Nita now, I think the Hyper Bear is going to be the better star power everywhere. Bear with me, I thought it might be good with a new gadget. Really, it's not that good. I would still recommend using Hyper Bear pretty much everywhere with Nita. Moving on to Colt now. Colt has obviously Slick Boots and Magnum Special, two very good star powers. Magnum Special going to give you a little bit extra range, also extra bullet speed as well. This star power is very good. Honestly, I use Magnum Special everywhere. I think it's the best star power, but if you're a pretty good Colt, and you enjoy using Slick Boots, you can also use that as well. Now moving into Bull. So Bull has a Tough Guy and Berserker. Tough Guy, 95% of the time is going to be the best star power. In Heist, I'd say you can use Berserker sometimes, but honestly, overall, Tough Guy is going to be the best star power essentially everywhere. Now moving in to the next product, which is Jessie. Jessie is Energize and obviously Shocky. Energize is giving you that heal, 800 heal every time you hit the turret. Would recommend using this Energize star power on pretty much every mode except from on Heist and Siege, where I would recommend using the Shocky star power just because you can get, your turret's going to spam a ton of shots. That's great when you're putting it on the Ike, and also the safe to deal a lot of damage. Moving into the next brawler here, we have Brock. This one is very easy. Incendiary, gonna be the best star power essentially everywhere. Yeah, just the best star power. I use it everywhere. Also, Fourth Rocket, you can use it in Brawl Ball and Gem Grabber if you want. And also, if your name is Pat, you may want to use it so it can help you hit your shots. But apart from that, I wouldn't recommend using this star power anywhere. Now, so for Dynamite, Dynamite obviously has 2 star powers. One of them, Dyna Jump, Lukey Bear. It's his bread and butter. He loves using Dyna Jump, and a lot of people think they're very good Dynas. But yeah, Dyna Jump actually okay on some maps. I would recommend using it over Demolition on a few maps such as GG Mortar and a few other maps with a lot of water. But overall, Demolition is going to be the best star power for the average player, like 90% of the time. Okay, so for Bo, this one is pretty easy. Snare a Bear, giving you that 5-second, or the 2-second stun. 5-second would be way too long. 2-second stun every time your mine hits someone. This one is a really, really great star power. The only time you're going to want to use Circling Eagle is when you're playing a map with so much grass like Snake Prairie, maybe a few other maps as well. But yeah, 95% of the time, you're going to want to run Snare a Bear. So for Tick then, Well-Oiled is going to be the best star power for most of the time. Sometimes I do like to use automatic reload, but most players will want to use the heal one because healing up really quickly is very helpful. Obviously, if you play the other star power, the reload one, you have to be much more careful when taking damage. This one, you can take a lot more damage and just heal up straight away. So for most players, Well-Oiled is going to be the best star power for you. So for 8-Bit then, 8-Bit obviously got a new star power pretty recently. Plugged In is going to essentially allow 8-Bit to be speedy in this huge area, which actually makes 8-Bit really, really viable in a lot of modes and open maps. So yeah, Plugged In, this second star power is going to be the best star power. Okay then, so for Ems, I recommend using Bad Karma. Essentially, this is going to give you more damage per shot. So I think, don't quote me on this, I think it's 720, then 840, then 960. It might be a little bit less or a little bit more. But yeah, it's around those damages, whereas Hype is an okay star power. It's going to give you a little bit of healing for basically every enemy having your super. The thing with this is you need your super to get value out of it, whereas with Bad Karma, you're getting value with it every single shot you shoot. So yeah, that's why I'd recommend using Bad Karma with Ems. So with Primo, I recommend using Meteor Rush. Going to give you that speed for 4 seconds, 25% speed boost after you use your super. Pretty helpful. Of course, when you're trying to catch up to people as well, it's really, really helpful. Although in Heist and Siege, you can use El Fuego. I think I said that right this time. Let me know if I did. But you can use that first star power in Heist and Siege because obviously you're going to deal a little bit extra damage to the Ike and the safe, but overall I would recommend using Meteor Rush. For Barley then, I recommend using medical use everywhere. 400 healing essentially means you don't even need to heal with Barley, especially with the gadget as well. You can just keep shooting, you can have a ton of healing. You can use extra nauseous though if you're coming up against a lot of tanks, but yeah, overall I would use medical use. So then for Rosa, if there is like a decent amount of grass on the map, say like double swoosh kind of level grass, kind of like half a map ish with grass, I would recommend using Plant Life. But if there's not that much grass, if there's say less than 25% of the map has got grass, I would recommend using Thorny Gloves. Going to give you that little bit extra damage per shot, which is really going to help you out. For Poco then, Da Capo, if you're playing with a team, Da Capo is going to be great, okay? Because first of all, you're probably going to have Poco double tank, going to be able to heal your teammates a lot, and Da Capo is going to be a really good star power. 700 healing, it's really going to help out. But honestly, if you're playing with randoms, I would genuinely recommend using Screeching Solos. And I'm not even joking here. I would actually use Screeching Solos because like when you play with randoms, the chance they're actually going a tank is very, very small. So, you know, you might as well just use Screeching. You can actually get a lot of value out of it, especially when you're playing randoms. They're all going to be grouping together. They don't expect it. Bang! Screeching Solos, 800 damage to each of them, I think it is. Pretty crazy. So yeah, I would actually recommend using Screeching if you're playing with randoms. So for Rico then, would recommend using Super Bouncy everywhere. Extra damage and also a little bit extra range is really, really going to help out just taking down enemies. So for Daryl then, Still Hoops is clearly going to be the better star power. Giving you that shield, allowing you to stay alive is really, really helpful. But if you want to on Heist, you can use Rolling Reload to give you a little bit extra damage per second on the safe. But yeah, overall, still Hoops, especially everywhere but Heist. But you can use Still Hoops in Heist as well. It's not going to be bad. Just in some situations, Rolling Reload is going to be better in Heist. But yeah, overall, Still Hoops are the much better star power. So for Penny then, Balls of Fire is going to be the much better star power, especially when paired with that second gadget. When you get those 5 like penny shots basically towards your position, they're all gonna be in fire, so it synergizes really well with that second gadget. So second star power, second gadget, really, really good. 400 damage obviously per second, a lot of zoning potential with the second star power of Penny, so I really recommend using this. Okay, then so for Carl obviously got a new gadget which essentially allows him to launch himself across the map onto an enemy. This synergizes so well with Protective Pirouette because you can get your super and then use this gadget, and you know, with Protective, no one's going to kill you, so you can just get close to your enemy and destroy them with your super. So I really recommend using Protective with Carl, especially if you're using that second gadget. So with Jackie has one of the worst star powers in the game by far. Counter Crush, never really used by anyone. Hardy Heart Attack, giving you that 50% damage reduction, is going to be much, much better. So yeah, I really recommend using the second star power for Jackie. So for Piper then, honestly, Piper has some really good star powers. So Ambush and Snappy Sniping. Ambush can give you 800 extra damage whilst you're sitting in a bush and you just shoot a normal shot. So honestly, this is going to be the much better star power on maps where even you have like, say you have free grass on your side, like Backyard Bowl, you have those tiny grass things. I'd say Ambush is going to be better here, especially when you have that second gadget, because it's essentially going to auto aim onto an enemy, so you can hit it pretty much every time. Using this Ambush can give you 800 extra damage on that too. But you can use Snappy Sniping on some of the more open maps. You can use Snappy on Backyard as well. It does kind of depend on your playstyle a little bit. But yeah, both really good star powers. But overall, I'd say Ambush is going to be better. Okay, then so for Pam has 2 really, really great star powers. Mama's Hug can give you 400 healing every time you hit someone in like a little radius around you as well. So it's also going to heal your teammates. Really, really great. Overall, I'd say this star power is going to be better in most situations. I like to use it everywhere because you can go really aggro as well. But Mama's Squeeze can give you 500 damage basically in the area of your turret. Again, why I'd say that they're both really good, but I would tend to like recommend using it. Not using Mama's Squeeze is because you're only getting value when you have your super, whereas with Mama's Hug, you're having value basically every time you shoot someone. So that's why I tend to go for Mama's Hug over Mama's Squeeze. Also, you know, on maps, if you're putting your turret behind, say, like offensive walls that, you know, can take out other turrets and stuff, Mama's Squeeze can be really, really good, but I'd say overall Mama's Hug is the better star power. Okay, so for Frank, everyone uses Sponge and like just assume Sponge is the better star power. It probably is overall, but honestly, Power Grab is probably underrated right now. It could be a pretty good star power, honestly. Once you get a first kill, you can start chaining them. You're going to do a lot more damage. So Power Grab is pretty underrated, you know. I'd say if you're doing well at Power Grab, keep using it, but you know, overall, I'd say Sponge probably right now is a slightly better star power. Okay, then, so for BB, I'd recommend using the shield batting stance. It's going to be the much better star power. 30% damage reduction when you obviously have charged up your shield. It's going to be much better than the speed, although the speed home run can actually be pretty decent in Siege. I'd say I'd recommend using batting stance everywhere. You can use it in Siege if you want, but also you can use home run in Siege. Going to give you 12% extra movement speed, really going to help you get that first bolt and collect bolts in general. But yeah, overall, Bang stance is going to be the best star power. Okay, so for B, I would recommend using Inkster B-Load. Can give you basically another 3k shot every time you miss that first one. So I would recommend using this everywhere except from in Solo Showdown, Bounty, and also if you're playing as a mid in Gem Grab with B. But, you know, Honeycoat, pretty good as well. Honestly, going to keep you alive in some situations. That's why I recommend using it in those game modes, as I said. But yeah, that's gonna be it for B. Okay, so moving into Nanny then. Honestly, I don't play a lot of Nanny, but I think this is gonna be the best way to use your star power. So you have Tempered Still. It's gonna take 80% damage or less while you have your super activated. So I feel like a lot of people when they play Nanny, they play it with a Mortis and a bow comp, sitting back using that totem. So in this case, you're going to want to use autofocus so you can get the extra 2,500 damage. Because you're sitting in the back anyway, you don't need the shield. And you can honestly just take this extra damage. You're playing pretty passively, sitting in the back, getting your super. So you're not going to get attacked much. So I would recommend using autofocus, the first star power. But as I said, if you're playing more aggressively, I would recommend using the Tempered Steel star power. It's going to help you out. It's going to basically make you take less damage so you can play a little bit more aggro. Okay, so moving into the Mythics then. Obviously, starting off with Mortis here. Cold Snake, going to be the best star power by far, allowing you to basically get right onto your enemies, start attacking them straight away. A much better star power for Mortis. So for Tara then, this changes a lot. Both star powers are very good, but I'd recommend going with the Healing Shade because, you know, it's going to stay alive, sit behind you most of the times. Sometimes it can be really, really annoying to the enemy because they can't take it out. So overall, both star powers are very good, but I would recommend using the Healing Shade star power most of the time. Okay, then, so for Jean, I would recommend using Magic Puffs pretty much everywhere. You're going to have some occasion in your game where one of your teammates is low and they're standing next to you, and you're going to get 400 healing in this circular radius around Jean. It's going to heal them up, going to get really good value. Saying that though, I would recommend using the other star power, which is Spirit Slap. It's going to give you 300 extra damage to your main attack when you have your super. Would recommend using this in obviously Solo Showdown and probably in Bounty, because in Bounty you tend to not group up as much as you do in other modes. Okay, so moving into Max then. So obviously they nerfed Max's second star power, Run and Gun, which used to give you reloads like really, really quickly. I'm not a Max expert, but I think this is still the better star power. I'd say that Supercharged obviously can give you your super a little bit quicker. I'd say they're really, really close in terms of like which one's better. But overall, I'd still say Run and Gun is going to be the better star power. But yeah, definitely you can use both star powers. They're both really good. Okay, then, so for Mr. P, Handle with Care, it's going to give you essentially an extra bounce on your shot. The same kind of extra range you get when you hit someone, or also you hit a wall normally. It's going to give you this every time you shoot, even if you miss someone. And this gives you extra range, really, really helpful on the more open maps. So I would recommend using this on the open maps, as I said. But Revolving Door is going to be the best star power on the closed maps, like, for example, XL. Most occasions on this map, you're going to be able to hit like an object, say like a wall. It's going to give you this extra range anyway, so you don't really need Handle with Care. And honestly, getting a porter every 3 seconds is going to be so helpful, so annoying for the enemies. So yeah, I would recommend using these star powers in these situations. Okay, and so for Sprout, obviously Sprout has one of the worst gadgets in the game, Overgrowth. Well, it's probably not that bad, but it just gets overshadowed and outshined by the second gadget, Photosynthesis, giving you that shield when you're in a bush. So helpful. You can tank so much, especially when paired with that first gadget. It's going to be so good. So use Photosynthesis everywhere. With Sprout, of course, unless there's zero grass on a map, which I don't think is possible. So yeah, essentially use Photosynthesis everywhere. Okay, then, so moving on to the legendaries then. So starting off with Spike. So with Spike, Curveball on the more open maps is going to be much better. Obviously, if you're not good at hitting your shots as well, I would recommend using Curveball everywhere. But Fertilize on those more closed maps where the walls are they're just square and you can hit around them very easily. It's going to be much better for Fertilize. So some of these maps include like Some Assembly Required, Nuts and Bolts. Those kind of maps, Curveball isn't going to give you much value at all. So those maps, it's definitely going to be better to choose Fertilize. But I'd say overall, I would say Curveball is the best star power. So for Crow then, I would recommend using Carry on Crow in Showdown because you're not going to be able to get as much value from Extra Toxic. But Extra Toxic is going to be the best star power in all 3v3 modes, because if you're hitting like multiple enemies at a time, you're reducing the damage they're all doing by 20%, which is also going to help your teammates out as well. So that's why I would recommend using Extra Toxic in 3v3. Okay, then so for Leon has one of the best star powers in the game in Busy Heal. It's so good. It allows you to heal up 1000 per second. I have a lot of people say that the first star power Smoke Trails is better because of that speed boost. No way. No way. In Busy Heal will be the star power that brings Leon back into the meta. If Leon ever comes back into the meta, 1000 a second, you can pretty much make it so if someone's attacking you, you're healing up more than they're attacking you because this star power is so good. So I would recommend using in Busy Heal everywhere. Okay, then so for Sandy has obviously Rune Sands. That's going to do 100 damage in your super to all enemies, whereas Healing Wind's going to do 250 healing to all teammates. Honestly, I think when Sandy is not that good in the meta, Healing Winds is going to be better because you've seen 1v1 Sandy interactions where basically both supers are on top of each other. You're going to be able to see where the enemies are using Rune Sands, but since you don't get this interaction much, I'd say Healing Winds are going to be the best star power. 250 healing, definitely a pretty decent healing, especially in this huge area as well. Going to heal all your teammates, and that's why I'd say Healing Winds is the best star power. Okay, then so the latest brawler in the game, Amber, recently got a second star power, but honestly, first star power is so much better. Wild Flames, allowing you to basically get your super from your gadget and also your like other super. So any oil on the map that's yours, you can get your super from. This is so good. Allows you to get your first super much easier because of the gadget, and also like allows you to recharge them and constantly cycle your supers much better than the second star power in my opinion. Few occasions where the second star power is going to be better, but most of the time, like 90% of the time, first star power, Wild Flames is going to be the better one. Okay, then so for Gale, Blustery Blow, that 1 second stun when you use your super onto an enemy, I think it's going to be the much better star power. Honestly, if the second star power, Freezing Snow, it gets a little bit of a buff, maybe to like 0.5, 0.6 seconds slow for everyone you hit with your normal attack. Maybe you'll see people using the second star power a lot more, but honestly right now the first star power for Gale is much better. Okay, then so for Surge, you're going to want to use it to the max when you're playing Showdown, but everywhere else you're going to want to use Serve Ice Cold because, you know, it gives you that super. You can basically go aggro at the start of the game, get your first super, use it, and then you're going to have that speed for the rest of the game. It's so good. So make sure to use Serve Ice Cold everywhere except for Showdown. Okay, then so for Colette has two very good star powers. They're not very good, but kind of very similar in how good they are. Honestly, there's not too much difference between them. But I would say the shield one is slightly better overall. But honestly, they're really close in terms of how good they are. So it really doesn't matter what star power you use with Colette. Okay, guys, well, that's going to be it for the video. Definitely a little bit of a longer video today. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure you're joining my Discord server, discord.gg/Tom. I will leave a link down below. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure you're using code Tom. Make sure you like the video. And definitely let me know if you have any questions down below, guys. But thanks for watching. I will see you guys next time. Peace.